What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Today is a beautiful day. As you guys can tell, it's super sunny and it is actually pretty warm out, which is weird because we're in like mid to late December. But anyways, we're gonna capitalize on this nice weather and we're gonna work on the G80 M3, which it feels like it's been a while since I've done that, guys. It's just gotten so cold. It's just getting harder to work on the cars. But in today's video, we're gonna be installing an air intake and we're gonna make this G80 sound freaking awesome. Now, some people might even argue that an air intake is not a performance mod because it probably doesn't help out with performance all that much. However, it's gonna make the car sound really cool. So that's enough for me. But for us to test just how cool it's gonna make the car sound, you gotta hear what it sounds like when it's completely stock. So with that in mind, let's hear what this thing sounds like. Now, before anyone gets triggered, don't worry guys, I did let the car warm up before revving it. And also, just to reiterate, if you're wondering, everything else on the car performance-wise is stock, so stock exhaust, all that type of stuff. So you guys heard it for yourselves. It actually sounds not too bad. The exhaust sounds better than I thought it would, but in terms of the intake noise, you hear nothing. But hopefully the new intake is gonna change that. But with that said, I actually haven't even told you guys which intake I have for this car. So let's go into that. So I'm sure you guys have seen this intake on other G80s or G82s, but the one that I have is the MST Performance intake. So huge shout out and thank you to Keys Motorsports for sending this out to me. If you guys want one, I'll leave a link to the Keys site where you can get the same one that I have. So I did kind of already unbox this thing, but there's really not much to it. You guys will see you have two intake cones. You have the shroud or the heat shield right over here, which is pretty nice because it has some padding to wrap around the engine bay a little better. And then you have the piping down there. Nothing too crazy, nothing to really write home about. It's just a standard open air filter, but it is at least nice that you get some type of heat shield. Now, in terms of installation, this should be pretty quick and pretty easy. We're going to remove this strut bar right over here. I think we only have to remove this front one. I don't think we have to remove the rear one, just so we can better access the intakes. You guys can see there's this one right over here, which goes down into the turbo, and then you also have this one, which is shorter, goes right down there. So to remove the intakes, we have to undo the clamps, remove the box. That's going to be the case on both sides. This one's actually held on with a few clips over here. The boxes are only really held on by grommets underneath, so we should be able to just pull them up, and then once those are out, we can better remove the pipes. But what's holding the pipes onto the turbos are these C-clamps, which you have to get like a flathead and pry away. C-clamps are usually annoying in my opinion, but these ones actually aren't too bad because they'll be like right in front of your face, so they should be easy to access. But yeah guys, overall it should be a pretty easy, pretty simple and quick process. So if you guys are thinking about modding your G80, this might be a good place to start. So like I said, we're gonna remove this piece of the strut bar. Now obviously you guys can tell I have an aftermarket one from Keys Motorsports, but if you guys have an OEM one, it's the same size bolts. This actually uses the same original bolts. So we're gonna move it from here and from here. This is a 13 and those ones are 15. So I'm gonna use power tools. You guys obviously don't have to. I'm just lazy. So with the strut bar now out of the way, we can get to this air box. So what we have to do is just loosen up this clamp. There's a bolt, but I'm just gonna use a flathead. You can do either way. You guys will be able to see there's a C-clamp holding this in. If I can just point at it right there. You guys see that? I hope you see that because I'm filming it. But yeah, so this we have to remove. So I'm just gonna take a flathead. I'm gonna go inside there and I'm gonna just kind of like turn it like that so we pull it away. By the way, don't go ahead and tossing these yet because I believe we have to reuse the seal, which you guys can see right in there. I think that's the one we need, and I think we need to reuse the C-clamp, so don't lose any of this stuff. So now we're gonna follow virtually the same process on this side, at least in terms of the actual airbox. So airbox now removed, we have to remove the piping. This one just has one additional step. It's these little clips right over here. There's only two of them. So now coming back to this side on the engine bay, you guys will be able to see there's another C-clamp holding in this pipe. So same process, you just wanna undo it like that. Hopefully I can unclamp both sides without it popping back in. That's one of the most annoying things, by the way. You'll undo one side and then the other side will just conveniently pop right back in. So I was wrong, guys. I thought I can get away without removing this engine cover, but as you can see, I need the space to remove this pipe. So what we're gonna have to do, unfortunately, is remove this piece of the strut bar, which is totally fine. I think it's just 2 more 15mm nuts on either side. Bit of a pain, but that's fine. We do what we gotta do. If you guys still feel like you need more space, you can feel free to remove this connection over here. I've seen people do it in other videos. I think I was fine though. Anyways, guys, now we have the car disassembled. Everything OEM is out of it, and we can start installing the new air intake. It's always weird to disassemble a car this new. Like, it's one thing when you're doing like body stuff, like spoilers, splitters, but to disassemble the engine bay, I know this is a very small thing. People are like, an air intake is nothing, and you're probably right. But still, it feels weird. This car still has less than 3,000 miles on it. But regardless, that's what we do to have fun with our cars. It's gonna sound a lot cooler, so I think it's gonna be worth it in the end. But with that said, let's just get to installing the new air intake. All right, guys, so I actually went ahead and got a head start on putting all this stuff together, because to install this intake, first you have to like assemble a few things. Now, really quickly, I know some of you guys are gonna judge me for putting all this stuff on the floor. Again, I recently moved, so I'm working on getting a table out here, but in the meantime, this will work. But anyways, to assemble this, what you have to first do is get these heat shields sort of like in order. So you have to install these aluminum grommets on both these sides. You have to install this bracket. I'll give you guys just a quick visual on what that looks like. The instructions in the box do tell you how to do it, so that's what I followed. Same thing on the other side. You'll see there's some aluminum grommets, or not grommets, but the things that go inside the grommets, and then a bracket that we have to slide in. That's gonna go, I believe, like over here, so it's gonna slide underneath. We're gonna need a nut and a bolt for that. But yeah, anyways, for the piping, you have to take the C-clamps from your original intake, put that on. You also have to take the seal. I would highly recommend a plastic trim tool or pick tool to get it out from the original one. Yeah, so you have to transfer those two things over. And now with that said, guys, I think we can actually start installing the new heat shields. So let me do that first, then we'll install the piping, and then we'll install the actual filters. So getting this in might take a bit of finessing. Let's see if I can make it work. Alright guys, so as you saw, the intake is now officially installed. Everything is put back together, and I know you guys have been patiently waiting to hear what this thing sounds like, but before we get into the sounds, let's just talk about the aesthetic. Because one of the benefits of doing an intake is it makes your engine bay look a little better. And overall, guys, I actually think this thing looks pretty cool, especially combined with the Keys carbon fiber strut brace. The piping right over here looks really good. It has like a textured matte black finish. But yeah, overall, I think it looks cool. All right, so now let's get into the good stuff. We're gonna fire it up, and I'll give you guys a couple reps. Now, I'll be lying if I said I didn't cheat a little bit and listen to what it sounded like already. I also wanted to test things out and make sure I didn't do anything wrong. But I'll throw you guys on the tripod, we'll do some revs, and you guys can be a judge for yourselves. So I just spoke to Mike, aka Slow Speed, and he said that these cars apparently don't build boost until you're driving. So I was revving it in park. We're gonna go for a little drive, and we're gonna see what it sounds like. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it sounds so much better when you're actually driving. You hear the turbo spool, you hear the blow off. It sounds like a rocket ship. Like that air induction noise sounds so freaking cool. I tried to open up the window, but maybe the wind noise was like getting in the way, but for me opening up the window, I can hear it more. So I'm definitely gonna be driving this car with the windows down a lot more. When you're in park, there's definitely something going on there. Mike said that the car just does not build boost. So you kind of have to like rev it and drive, but hold the brake. Maybe I'll try that another time, but I can definitely tell you when driving this thing, it sounds awesome. When you're parked, it sounds a little better in my opinion, but you know, when you're driving it, that's when you really get the awesome sounds of this intake. After hearing that, I would highly recommend it. Now tell me guys, what should I do for the next mod? Should I continue with the sound and the noise and maybe do an exhaust on it? If so, do you guys have any suggestions or anything you want to see in terms of exhaust? I have a few things in mind, some a little more expensive, some a little more budget friendly. So I'm kind of leaning towards that way so I can give you guys a budget friendly exhaust setup on a G80 M3. So definitely stay tuned. But once again, thank you to Keys Motorsports for sending me out these intakes. They sound great. They look awesome. And overall, the installation wasn't too bad. These bolts were my biggest enemy the whole time, but otherwise it really wasn't too bad. So if you guys want to see more videos about the G80 M3, you already know what to do. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you drop it a like. Let me know down in the comments below, were you guys able to hear the difference between the before and after? I haven't even heard it on camera yet. I'm gonna hear it once I go back and edit this video. But anyways guys, with that said, this video is pretty much done and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.